Anything you want, we got it right here in the OQP.
Hi, this is Jim Islib with MSU Extension, and this is What's Up at Uprec on May 13th, 2021. Today we're visiting with Paul Naasz. We'll take a quick look at pasture and hay conditions around the farm.
Well, good morning. My name is Paul Naasz, Farm Manager of the Upper Peninsula Research and Extension Center. It's May 13th, 2021, and we're out standing in a field of winter rye. This rye was planted early September of 2020. It's coming up good. It seems to be like we're a little bit earlier than usual for us here in the Chatham area. This is actually new to me. We've never done it before. We've planted winter rye before, but this is actually a winter forage rye that's made specifically for making hay out of and baleage. And this particular field is no-till. What my plan is that we will harvest this winter rye off for baleage, and then we're going to come back in and no-till in an alfalfa grass seeding. So this is how we're trying to prepare the soil for our next planting, which would be alfalfa and grass. So if we can mow it off, we eliminate the residue that's there, and hopefully then we'll have a good seed bed to drill our new seeding into. So here we are. This is an alfalfa field, a new seeding last year. We just came from the winter rye, and this was the first time we tried this last year as we planted winter rye in here. In this field, it would have been the fall of 2019. We harvested it for forage, summer of 2020, and then we came in, we let the rye green back up, sprayed it with glyphosate, and then no-tilled our alfalfa and meadow fescue. This is a mix of about 18 pounds of alfalfa seed and 4 pounds of meadow fescue. We actually were able to no-till this into that seed bed that we'd prepared through our rotation. And we had great conditions for this last year. We hit it just right. We got good rainfall afterward, after it was seeded, and I think we got a really good catch here on this field of alfalfa and meadow fescue. Okay, so here we're standing in a field. This field was seeded to pure alfalfa. We seed 18 to 20 pounds of alfalfa seed, actual seed, and this was planted in 2014. So this is 7 years old, and you can see that it's starting to kind of play out, and we're going to have to think about getting this back in our rotation. So the alfalfa looks like it just broke dormancy not too long ago. We don't have a lot of growth on the alfalfa, but we're getting starting to get a lot of dandelion in it and some volunteer grasses coming in. Okay, so here we are in the pastures. We just turned out to pasture yesterday, the 12th of May. So these cattle just came into here this morning. There's not a lot of grass here, a lot of grass growth here, but you can see that it's starting. And what we do is we just give them a large enough area that they have enough feed to get full on. But we want to top this grass off because, you know, once it starts to warm up, if we'd come back in about 6 days, this stuff would just explode. And so we want to get it knocked off and get started with our grazing so that 6 days from now, we can be in a spot that's better groceries, better growth. But we'd like to try and get across the whole farm this first time across, first grazing out. We try to get across all the acres in about 15 days, just to get everything topped off, get it staged for the rest of the summer. So right here in this particular piece of the pasture, this is where the calves and the yearlings came yesterday. We turned them out first time, quit feeding hay. They came in here the first time yesterday. This pretty much looked like the spot where they're at now. And I look at it and it's, did we graze it too hard? And I'm thinking maybe a little bit, but it's like the first time you turn out, you don't know how much they're gonna eat. We try to estimate what they're gonna be there. So we come out, we maybe graze this a little too tight so that next piece that we gave them was bigger. So hopefully we won't get it grazed down this tight. You know, we want to leave leaf tissue because the leaves absorb the sunlight, and that's where we get our growth from. Photosynthesis occurs. And we still get some growth from the roots at this time of the year, but we want to preserve those roots as much as we can. The other thing that I think I've noticed is I'm not too concerned about the overgrazing, because I think when we can, this time of the year, get it grazed down a little bit tighter. You don't want to do that on all your acres, obviously. But by exposing and opening up the soil, I think it gives the red clovers and the legumes a better opportunity to come. Because otherwise, if the grasses just outcompete those young legumes, and by opening up a little bit, get some sunlight in there, maybe slowing the grass down a little bit, I think we have a tendency to increase the native clovers and legumes to come into these pastures. So this is our young stock group. We've got actually the 2-year-olds, the yearlings that were born fall of 2019. They're going to be grass finished and then marketed as grass finished beef this fall. And we also have the newly weaned calves that were born last fall. We had a really good winter. Our calves weaned at 575 pounds this year. The yearlings are averaging about 950 pounds right now today. Okay, so here we're in a pasture that we started yesterday with the cow herd. Again, we try to turn the cows out and guesstimate how much area they need and come in and look at it the next day to see how we did. I think we maybe did a little bit better job. I think it's not quite as overgrazed. But if you look at this pasture and take a close look, this pasture is what I call virgin soil. This pasture has never been tilled in the history of the earth. The trees were taken off, but that's it. So this is pure native pasture for the Upper Peninsula. We have on a couple occasions in certain areas come in and tried to frost seed some trefoil or clover, but we just don't have much luck with that here. I think we're started grazing. We're taking the top off of this. We come back to this probably by the time we get back here in another 10 to 14 days, this will be just right for grazing. And that's what our goal is. We may get out a little early, it may look a little overgrazed, but by the time you get your spring flush, you almost got to get started on it or you're get behind in your grazing rotations. So this is where they were at first day yesterday. If you look over here, this is what it looked like. Those cattle went in there this morning, probably about 3-4 hours ago, so they have grazed it off a little bit. Not a lot of forage in there, but there's enough. These cows are dry cows. They just weaned, so they're not lactating. There's enough for them, and we just give them bigger areas so they got access to enough feed for the day. Okay, so this is an area of our pasture that looked almost identical to where we just came from, but we actually had a bulldozer come in here, smooth it out, and then we worked to this particular piece of ground, picked the rocks, and actually came in and planted kura clover. And we got a very, very, very good stand of kura clover. Kura clover is kind of a unique clover. It's rhizomatous, so it spreads. It's got an extremely long life. I'm not sure you can kill it by grazing it or anything. The challenge with it is extremely difficult to establish. For some reason, we planted this field, it's been 10 or 12 years ago. We had just hit everything, just worked like it was supposed to. We tried to do another similar process the following year, did everything the same, and we didn't get one kura plant seed to germinate. So that's why it's a very expensive seed. I haven't tried it since then because it's so hit and miss and it's so expensive, but if you can get a good stand of kura clover, it is pretty phenomenal. Okay, we're standing in a tilled field. As I mentioned, we're predominantly no-till. But every once in a while we'll have a field that we need to work and fit back up. This particular field we lease, and it's probably been 40 years since this field was ever tilled, and it was just in the native grasses, and we made hay on it for quite a while. Just fertilized it and was able to get a good grass hay crop off of it, but it was also very, very rough. And so we decided it's time to renovate this hay field, and so we actually sprayed it with Roundup 3 years ago. We sprayed it with glyphosate the fall of the year, and the next spring we planted peas and oats in it. The following spring we disked it and worked it and put in barley, and then this spring we're working it again, but this time we're going to come in and we want to put a seeding in here this summer So we're working it and running the rock picker over it. Because when you make hay, you want to get them rocks off. We also want to try to smooth it up. And so we're trying to do a really nice job preparing the field, getting the seed bed ready. And what we're going to do here is we're going to plant peas and oats back into this when we get done with the rock picking. When the peas and oats come off, then we're probably going to put a winter rye in again, and then harvest the winter rye next summer for forage, and then we'll put our seeding in. We'll no-till our seeding in then. But so we needed to give the sod a couple years to rot down, because the rock picker doesn't work very good when there's clumps of sod in there. It likes to plug the rock picker up. So the finer the soil, the better. This isn't ideal for the rock picker, but it's doing a nice job regardless.
That's what's up at Uprec. Hope to see you again next time.
Green Garden, Foster City, Mass City, Copper City, Blaney Park, Bruce Crossing, Silver City. What a pity! I'm in Andrews Land, man. I'm in